style.
I think both these teams have like opposite effects when it comes to the patch happening, because like you're saying, Iceville, honestly, he's a phenomenal hit scan player. Like the amount of plays I see him on Tracer when him and RTR would kind of pair together. I would love to see him go back to more of a DPS role, to back to more of a soldier. But the thing is, you're gonna need that diva, right? And if he's not playing it, who's gonna play it? Probably not Spree, who seems to be only playing the Zarya. So he's the only one that really is playing the diva for the team. And since diva's so strong right now, you kind of have to run her. So it puts him in such an awkward position, right?
Well, I mean, again, you're right. I mean, this is a player, in my opinion, who's on sort of like a suboptimal role. And we know Iceville back from Team Experiment at the first European lane. He played with, guys like Ruster, way back. Like, yeah, and Mendo, Vainless as well. So a lot of the old hands in Europe. And Iceville was always, playing that damage role. Back then, it was no hero limit, so you can imagine how that went here. And even at the World Cup, he represented Germany, if you do recall that one. But Germany, the team itself, really didn't have too much success at all. And Iceville did not shine at that tournament. And I honestly think that the player has got incredible pedigree and is very, very good. But we haven't really seen huge, massive headlining performances from Iceville in recent times. We're looking to see more of them here, though, as well. It's going to be on the defense, Hammers, and it's going to be on the attack, Luminosity, of course, to kick things off with here as well. So we're going to be seeing that May here from Hammers, potentially to start off with here. I don't think Train's going to stay with this Hanzo. We kind of know what to expect from him. But let's talk about the May, because we're not seeing a lot of her at the moment, really. Well, obviously, she was very, very big when sort of triple tank first became a thing, and people like to play close, but is this going to stay?
I think it's going to stay, but they were trying to actually get Rob onto the high ground, where you can see Widows typically snipe from on the back point. They just kind of missed the wall, or he missed the jump. Either way. Yeah, the May, no, I mean, you're in such a tight choke point, and the problem is that unless you're going to send people around the backside to the high ground or whatnot, you're going to be in a choke point, whether it's the direct route or it's the staircase. And May's going to be really effective, especially if you pair that together with Super, right? If Luke gets a little bit too far pushed up, he gets walled off, he's going to die. And that just gives Super the confidence and the ult advantage that comes into when we see things start to pick up.
Yeah, you're right. Luminosity need to be careful not to get caught a little bit too far forward, especially Ube. If he's looking for hooks around shields, it means he needs to leave the safety of his own one. That is Super Fluke, of course. But now, the payload has moved forward a little bit more. Nothing really to note here. The next few seconds are crucial, though, where the Luminosity want to press forward. They get the hook, but Fall actually going to be able to heal himself, back away. No kill going to be resulting there, although Super Fluke's shield does go very low.
Yeah, and you can see they're actually respecting that May pick as well. They're not pushing up into that line. They're trying to go towards the staircase here. You can see an immediate response on a hammer. Look at that. Super already charged straight forward. Not going to click on anyone. The wall even comes down, but this is a bloodbath.
Yeah, you can see aggression coming out from Hammers here as well. No respect being offered to Luminosity. And Iceville trying to go up on high ground and challenge out Train, but he's already so low, and Vol is just going to cut through him there with the particle cannon. Ube getting that first pick off there. Hidan going down, though. It's back and forth, and on the payload, Mineral attempted to try and push it further forward on that Zenyatta, but doesn't get very far. Still, it seems like Hammers are being forced to back away here, knowing that the attacking spawn is closer. Train maybe not getting the memo. Now the re-engage coming in for Hammers.
Yeah, Train's just trying to actually stop this payload from moving forward, because then it keeps him in the choke point, and he's been constantly healed by Rob and actually dodged away from the hook out of Ube as well. So they maintain this position. The payload's slowly going to roll back, and now Luminosity has to choose. Do they want to go higher ground again, or do they want to push through towards the payload? Either way, they're going to run into a May, and they're going to run into a lot of ultimates. Bull is ready with this Graviton Surge, so is
yeah, and the Graviton Surge coming out from both players here as well. But Luminosity in the chaos aren't able to coordinate any ultimates of their own, or any damage at least. It's all Hammers all over that scoreboard there. The kill feed lighting up blue, just what they want to see here, decimating Luminosity in that fight. And this is the old defense strategy we used to see from Fnatic on Dorado, where an IDDQD was on the roster, aggressively pushing towards the enemy team as they try and set up Jason. It's working out well so far for Hammers.
Alright, just watch that. You can just see in his eyes, just please kill me now. But yeah, he gets taken down, and they need some sort of way to work around the May wall. The problem was that Spree used his Graviton Surge in that fight a little bit too late, because Hammer already jumped past it. He jumped past the position, he actually placed that one down, so they didn't really get caught up at all. But you can see them struggling. They're looking for some sort of route to go, looking to try to maybe juke them out a little bit, get them out of position. What they have in fact done here, that blitz is going to be too worse.
Blizzard coming in, self-destruct in the back though. Train actually catches on towards Heathen, and now the Transcendence is going to be hastily brought forward by Mineral now. They've lost their runner, but they're not out of the fight yet. Ube looks for a hook very deep, looking for Rob, but Rob out of the sidestep. The late wall coming up though here from Jake. It's going to separate LG just with the Doctor orders for Hammers. They're going to bring it down on top, and this time it's LG is the nail. Jake with 2 kills for that fight. Another late wall coming out. Icefeld again being kept alive. Long since he would die.
Not only did it separate them in that last fight, but it separated them more importantly, the tanks from their healers. Mineral on the Zenyatta wasn't able to heal them, Eden wasn't able to heal them, and Mineral has recently switched over to Lucio with Uba going over to the Pharaoh to maybe flank it from the backside, try to give him a different area to attack from. But honestly, these walls out of Jake have been damn spot on, and Luminosity, they've tried to adapt to it. They try to change things up, they try to speed through that main alleyway, but it just didn't seem to do too much, because Jake was still able to zone them relatively well with that Blizzard.
Double DPS, and then more aggression over towards the right side yet again. Self-Destruct going to be thrown in there by Train, not catching anyone on this occasion, but again, the aggression may be turned against Hammers on this occasion. It's going to be Uber, the only one to fall so far. Luminosity building up ahead of Steam, pressing on towards his payload. Train can't do much more but stand and deliver, and he knows he can't stall for very long. So perhaps finally the double-edged sword cuts both ways, and Hammers may have lost his checkpoint after that aggressive push.
I want to give that one to actually Uva with the concussive blast he threw down, because it actually put Super and Bull out of position. They were biogrenaded, they couldn't be healed, they couldn't actually run away from the team, and Super eventually did go down to a fire strike. So just that positional advantage they were able to gain with the help of Uva kind of gave him that fight. Not to mention Icewell switched over to Tracer last second, and there's no reason for him to really switch off because they have the Graviton Surge full form combo coming up relatively soon.
And again, that fight was in overtime, Jason. It's a very, very close call for Luminosity. They've lost a lot of time on this map, and now they know they need to make it up somewhere. But Super Fluke caught in the Graviton Surge. He charges out of it there. It's going to be now a Graviton Surge used by the side of Luminosity. They've caught 3, but Rob is up above, healing his team. Force Bomb gets on towards the Vast, but that's about all. Jake late, hook can't complete. Spree was hooked in, but not killed as that Roadhog does go down, and now Full and Rob going to commit to the ground level. Train also with a bunny blast trying to make ends meet. He found Uber at the very least here, but Luminosity have the numbers. They crowd over the payload and will keep it moving.
It's a little bit unfortunate for the side of Hammers because they've had the ultimate ready to go. They had the Earth Shatter, they're ready. They had the Nano Boost. The problem was that they kind of Super died a little bit too early on that fight. Wasn't really able to combo the things correctly, but the thing is for them at least they have another chance. The Uba with the barrage can be the big determining factor here because Train, he has to be really quick to block out this damage, and Uba's just waiting for his opportunity to go in. He's actually trying to keep them pincered a little bit here, sticking their attention off towards the side, towards Graveyard.
Oh, Nanoboost on Super, but he's put to sleep. Perfect stuff from here, and we expect no less from the man. And now Super Fluke is going to try and emulate. He gets a Nanoboost of his own, but he hasn't found a target yet. Uber trying to barrage from up the path, but he's caught down. Jake finds him there ultimately on that Roadhog. Now it's Spree, caught in the mix with Super Fluke, forced to back away our Luminosity now. They need to get out of dodge. Jake is being protected right now by Super. He was put to sleep in that fight again. He done a huge fight from him. 2 very important sleep dance, but it's not enough to give Luminosity the edge.
Tough ask for Jake too, because not only did he kill Uba in the barrage without a hook because it was on cooldown, he also caught Icewell with the hook and picked up the kill right after. That's really tough to do. And look at this aggression! They're fighting them again. They're trying to keep the split spawn.
That's it, trying to assert their dominance here. Hammers, they do get it. And look at that, they leave Mineral alive. They won't be able to kill him and sort of stall his particular spawn out, but a bit of a stagger would have been good. Regardless, 13 seconds left. There's not even going to be enough time to get to the payload if you're Luminosity. It's so far to walk. And you see Icefeld is hoping to try and blink his way forward and keep it contested, but he's being pressured by Train. He goes down. There's no one there for Luminosity that can get to this payload. A sound barrier is all well and good, but it ain't going to help if your team can't keep the game going. And Hammers hold Luminosity to 1 checkpoint in 84 meters with a very solid defense as they track back and knew when to go for the throat to get that winning fight.
Mineral's got to be pissed. He's got to be pissed there at the end too, because when he popped his sound barrier, he got swung by the hammer, which actually can move your position when you get hit by it, and he got pushed into the wall, so he didn't get around the corner where he would have been able to touch the payload. Little things like that really hurts for them, but to just have Hammer just rush them down, like knowing they were retreating, knowing they had ultimates up, knowing they could put them on a stagger spawn with so little time remaining was really well done. And now they don't really have too far to go.
I had to ask Slasher quickly, why is it that Luminosity is struggling so much with this aggression from Hammers?
I mean, Hammers is able to run Mei, which is always really good on this map because of the choke point at the first checkpoint, and then you know that Luminosity likes to run Ana Zen instead of Lucio on offense lately. And without Lucio, it's totally exploiting what they're trying to do. So it took the first 3.5 minutes for them finally to switch into Lucio Farah, and then they win the point after Spicy becomes too aggressive once Luminosity has Lucio. So, I mean, we're countering LG, and LG should have been able to make a change at the start of the game to not run Ana Zen directly into Mei for nearly the entire first point.
I love that. Using mobility, well, using their aggression at least to sort of exploit the lack of mobility of the attacking team, where they can't really respond. They don't have time, and they're not fast enough to get into position when they're going to be jumped on by Hammers. But Jason's going to be a different story now. Hammers, of course, going to be on the attacking side here. Does that same brand of aggression hold true here on the other side of the map?
I mean, it's gonna be a little bit harder to actually pull off, at least within this first checkpoint, right? Like, you can maybe guess they have a May, maybe have Symmetra as well to kind of put these turrets up to actually delay you from speeding through to get in a position to pick up these clean early kills. So you maybe have to look for another avenue of attack, but they're still keeping the Lucio, they're still keeping a Vast, so they have the opportunity to speed through in some sort of direction. But I feel like Mineral is a really big crutch point here for the side of Luminosity. If they want to be able to maintain this and take a lot of time away from Hammers, he's gonna need to position himself really well, not get picked up early on, and make sure these turrets can do some work.
Well, we can see Uber already having to give a little bit of ground there. He's not able to burst down Train, and no one's really surprised there. D.Va sucking up that damage like an absolute boss, but now it will be the side of Hammers moving towards the left-hand side, and yet Train exactly on that D.Va is actually well and truly deep. He was looking for Mineral, wants to pick him up early on. He's got a big health pool, but it's not enough. He's desuited. Elsewhere, though, Jake has found Super Fluke in this fight, and Super wants to keep going now. He knows there's a lack of Reinhardt on the opposite team, and he wants to exacerbate the fact. But a large amount of ground has been gained here. And look at this, Hammers moving this payload through the choke.
Yeah, they got the teleporter down too, and just can't be Luminosity. You can't have 4 people turn to look at Train on the D.Va, and then have the rest of Hammers just rush straight into you. But luckily for them, they get a second breather. They get this chance to calm things down because they have to wait for Train to respawn back in, which he's gonna do the exact same thing. Looks like he wants to go around the backside yet again, look for this teleporter, which is actually gonna be really tough for him to take down, I feel like, with that many with that many turrets and that many people with Luminosity there to protect it.
It is well and truly well protected. It's one of the first Symmetras tonight we've actually seen be able to really use that ultimate after, holding on that first point for a little bit. So credit to Mineral for doing the damage that he needed to do for himself to give him the teleporter. But now it will be the push up. It's going to be a charge coming in there as well. Super Fluke wants to try and preempt this push. He gets nano boosted, but look, it's a disengage. Complete disengage from Hammers, and Train goes in the backside. It's a bit of a distraction. He cleaned up the teleporter there, and he's still alive. Now, moving back to the rest of his team, the payload marches on.
Yeah, him and Jake together actually focused that one down. We did see Luminosity go for the constant aggression there, but this is going to be a fight Luminosity will hold on to, so not too big of a deal. And not to mention Mineral, well, you just lost your teleporter, which had, I think it was 5 charges. You're about to have it up again. You're at 75% of your ultimate, so really not that big of a loss, and a slight mistake out of Hammer.
Hammer's paying dearly to try and get that teleporter itself. I mean, it's all well and good to pick it up, but, as soon as the TP goes down, Mineral can again start improving that ultimate percentage and work with his next one. And there's a lot of ultimates.
What?
In fact, with an Earth Shatter, a little bit short there from Super Fluke. Doesn't connect at all, and that could be dangerous because Super has one ready to rock. He just needs to put it in the right spot and try not to repeat the same mistake as earlier on. Train is very deep, but Jake finds Super Fluke now. The Graviton comes in. That's the Luminosity. It's going to be an opposite Graviton now used by Hammers and a self-destruction. That's going to be nasty. Last not get on Jake finds Uber, so the boss hog is definitely on the side of Hammers right now, and the self-destruction used by Train will clear some space and allow the rest of Hammers to clean it up. They're going to get this first checkpoint. It took them a while, but it was still quicker than what Luminosity had, unless they can recontest.
Well, I mean, that teleporter is there. It is down. The entire team now. Luminosity should be here to defend this one. Right away, he dies. This actually hits them back to the point.
They're going to try. They're going to push forward. It's working well. The teleporter's down, but the damage is already done. Luminosity are already back in numbers on this payload, and so far they're holding strong. Train off towards one side, and Jake's on the other. They're trying to pinch a hit at him here, but he's got a lot of protection. Eventually he goes down. The biotic grenade not quite enough to keep him alive, but still, it's the cost of 2 bodies here for Hammers, and they'll keep Train alive just long enough to be annoying and force Hammers to wait. They've got 30 seconds left to finish.
I think Luminosity could very well do this. They switch off the Symmetra though, so they don't have that teleport. But we do have what? Nano Boost coming up, Earth Shatter coming up. I feel like Fluke maybe misclicked his Earth Shatter early on in that fight when it pretty much did absolutely nothing, but this is the last chance. Last chance saloon here. 15 seconds to go. They have to switch the payload. They have ults coming up generally in time, but Spree's gonna have the Graviton, which is a big game changer. Ult's nowhere near close.
Yeah, that could be the ticket here. The only ult in the game right now, and Rob actually does get himself a nano boost on towards Super, but he's Graviton. He can't do anything with the extra damage. Super Fluke looks right into his arc of damage. There is the Earth Shatter coming out. Nice spell. Takes down Super though. Some weird interactions going on this point. It's still 3 players standing for Luminosity here, trying to make something happen. They're working towards his payload here. Good hook from Jake. He finds Mineral. No more Lucio in the fight, but now Uber manages to catch Jake out. The hook was there. The damage to follow up wasn't. Super Fluke now the last line of defense. 6 moments before he'll fall down. A sound barrier there. Interesting use for Jake, maybe not realizing there weren't anyone else around, so it was a Vast that let the one go. Ultimate use maybe unnecessarily, but the point is still taken by Hammers. We've got a game on our hands now, Jace.
Better safe than sorry, I'd say, for him and the team. You know, you can feel the pressure on knowing you're in overtime and not knowing how many people are that close to respawning back in, but Super, he got destroyed by Uber there because he actually whole-hogged him past the self-destruct last second, so he got blown up from that one. But unluckily for them, just wasn't enough people. And look where Super is. He's on the high ground. I don't think they're really going to expect him to get someone hit a charge or something, but at least the rest of the team opened and set with an Earth Shatter.
Yeah, it was an Earth Shatter coming in here as well. Super dropping down after the fact, so he wasn't affected, but it doesn't matter because the rest of his team was decimated by it. Very, very difficult for Hammers to respond to that and actually mount any kind of engage of their own. And they will fall as Luminosity take the fight to them on the low ground. Now they want to set up on higher, but this is cheeky. Jake is inside the church, just being a presence here on the high ground, and this will make Luminosity think twice about where they stand as they do want to get back up on this bridge and hold.
I was actually wondering if he's going to hold that position. He's actually going to maintain the high ground. Have him drop. The Graviton's going to be huge.
Ube's caught up on the high ground, but the Graviton's not much coming of it. Train gets on the wood spree there with a self-destruct, but Uber's still up on the high ground. Now the whole hog coming down from above just to try and pressure onto these players, but he's put to sleep. Beautiful sleep dart out from Rob420, and no one's here to stop the payload. Uber's having a bit of a catnap in the backside. I can't do too much about it. That's not the kind of siesta you want your key player to be taking at a crucial moment like this, and the payload marches on. Uber won't be up for another 5 seconds at least, and now Super Pluke and Spree have to make ends meet on their own. There'll be a Graviton coming in, and an Earth Shadow to mix. Super misses his charge though, and it's going to be a while before he can get into the fight now with that nano boost, but he gets on towards Super Pluke. Still, he's charged onto the payload. Now Ice God gets himself a nano boost. There's a sound barrier coming out from Luminosity here, keeping them nice and topped up here. They need to win this fight to keep themselves in the game, and so far it's looking good.
Yeah, no one's disrupted Heathen from the backside, is constantly hewing away, and it looks like instead of trying to continue and try to solve that fight for Hammer, they're just going to back away. They actually speed themselves out of this one, realizing we don't have the time to work with to push this one through. And I think Super would have ideally hit that charge on a Pluke, but the Graviton sort of pulled him in last second, which kind of changed the direction of where he was going. But with what ultimates do Hammer have? Almost nothing at this rate, and ideally during this fight they won't really be able to get anything up in time either. They're going to have to throw someone on this payload just to get into overtime. That's the last chance. Heathen, towards the high ground, he's going to be focused out by Train. It's going to be huge if he goes down.
Yeah, the picks are going to be important in this fight with the lack of bolts, and well, it's looking pretty good for Luminosity here. It's overtime though, but something needs to happen for Hammers. They're so close yet so far. They failed to reach the marker set by Luminosity, and both teams put up indomitable defenses, but it is Luminosity to get the better. They will take the first map in this best of 5. Quite a showing here, Slasher, and it looks as if that Hammers struggled even more than Luminosity did on the attacking side. I mean, that's clear to see, but why was that the case?
Well, Dorado is one of the, out of all the payload maps that you can hold first point at the longest, and while May worked out for Hammers earlier, Smasher worked out for Luminosity. So it wasn't until I think, the second to last push that Hammers was finally able to get it through, and then during the second point, you really only have 2.5 fights. I thought Jake going high ground and taking control of High Church was actually pretty good, even though he died up there. It made sure that he was able to let his team go through, and Hammers had an opportunity to end the game. Super had Ana ult. He just wasn't able to get anything done. He had Pluke down to like 50 health, and then Icedals gets his ult from the Ana, and then he's able to get 3 kills and pretty much ends the game right there.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. There's like small little things, like because he hit the Earth Shot on a Super Pluke, and that's like a guaranteed charge that you're not going to miss, right? But the Graviton pulls him in, he misses a charge from that, Pluke doesn't go down, and then Pluke's able to get back up, get healed back up, and just swing away in his team, and eventually get an Earth Shatter back up for himself for the next fight.
It was unfortunate for Super there. Yeah, I mean, like he got nano boosted as well. Charged in the wrong direction. And then by the time he got back into the fight, he then got charged into the payload by Super Pluke. So no way of using that that nano boost. Wasn't in position to even do so there. And now we're going to be going over towards our next map. So just waiting to see if the sides are picked. It's going to be Nepal as our next map in this series.
It's going to feel rough for Hammers because that's kind of like a home map for Luminosity, and they had an opportunity to really take a 1-0 lead in this series. So now they're going to, I think they're somewhere they're feeling pretty comfortable considering how yesterday went.
Well,
I'd hope so. I mean, there's not as much area, I guess, on some of the points of the map to be Super and kind of punish them, like on the Yuzhong Tower. Especially like the third point. I don't know. I see it really hard for Super to really be effective in that situation. But also, Fair can be relatively well done if you do play her correctly with all those depth hits. But then again, Uba didn't really do much yesterday on Lijiang Tower when it came to Night Garden.
It's a dice roll when you see Pharahs come in there as well. And honestly, right now, I feel like it's more often than not that you see them not be quite as effective. Yes, of course, the concussive blast is very important for, moving people around the map, but it can be hard. We've seen it from some of these players, hard to get enough damage done. Sometimes, we saw some good situations, from Uber where he got good barrages down, but outside of that, his impact wasn't always keenly felt. But, I mean, Slash, we talked about it before. You said this is a great map for quad tank there as well. So do you feel like Hammers have the advantage here?
Yes, because of the meta, but there are more options for Luminosity. Now, Ube can go Pharah and try that. It's actually pretty decent against quad tank, though not exactly on these maps. Tracer is shown to be extremely well, but his Tracer probably isn't as good as, let's say, Threatsies in this tournament. So there are some different things that he could do, or they could just start to mirror and play it that way. Luminosity has a lot of experience playing quad tank themselves. They haven't probably played as well as Hammers has.
And we talked about that. Obviously, Luminosity, we thought we're kind of sticking to the quad tank quite a lot, and we sort of conjectured that, newer form teams or teams with lineup changes sort of go back to that, and that's their foundational strat in the current patch. But right now, we're pretty much seeing as expected here. A lot of tanks, 4 per team, no surprises here. Not a DPS hero in sight. Both teams on the point here. Good charge from Superplip though, gets Vol straight away, but the man just shielded up. He absorbs the damage, he puts it back twice as hard. And Uber getting a hook on towards Jake is good, but now the rest of Hammers are going to collapse forward. Uber tries to take a bit of a breather there. He's nice and healthy, but Icebox goes deep. Gets desuited there by Super. The point's going to be captured by Rob420 now as he just sits back. Again, first hit reigns supreme, and Hammers will control the start.
Yeah, I mean, when you're Jake and you get an easy hook onto Lucio, which was played by Mineral, and then you get that initial kill paired in with Vol picking up a kill, you're not ideally going to lose that fight, because what did he do after that? He just tried to stall for as much time as he could, because he knew Super was quick in pursuit to help him out. But there you go, first fight, Train. But see, even defense pitchers in that fight, because he has self-destruct already. And I've never seen a Diva get self-destruct up before a nano boost out of a Nana. That's pretty ridiculous.
Just damage being done by Train in that last fight. A big involvement, a big contribution. Now, he does let the self-destruct go, but doesn't catch on to anyone. It does, however, split Luminosity up. Superplip falls down on the high ground. It is going to be Super taking a bit of a sleep, but it doesn't matter because the rest of his team is going to get the job done. With Luminosity split between the high and low levels, 3 players on either side, it's easy pickings now for Hammers to collapse in and pick them up. They're going to go for more. They get the hook on towards Mineral as he tries to escape back to base. And again, 50%. And Luminosity are going to find this round quickly getting out of their hands if they don't take action and soon. Ultimates, though, Jason, are on the way.
They definitely are, but let's take a quick look at it. Uba is actually the one playing Tracer, not Icefelt. And this kind of reminds me of what we talked about earlier on about Icefelt's the one playing Diva, because maybe he has to for his team when we know he's an extremely good Tracer. The Garbster is going to be coming through at a Bull, but again, no backup really happening off of that one. But they still have the man advantage. Icefelt's finally able to charm in back on the Super, but he gets suited. He's going to fall from this one, and ideally Hammer's just going to maintain control. But like this actually like internally frustrates me because I don't necessarily rate Uba's Tracer better than Icefelt's. And the fact that Icefelt has to play Diva because maybe Uba can't play Diva, it limits you as a team. And if you want to be one of the best teams in the world or North America or whatever, you can't have those limits on you.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the way it is. This is the comp they want to play, and now this is the last fight, last chance, last stand for Luminosity in this round. They're just going to put themselves on the point here. No worries at all, but Hidan goes down early. He's focused down by Train. The Diva gets in under the skin of Luminosity, making it hard for them, but Icefelt with a good self-destruct finds a fast up on the point. Now it's going to be Icefelt ducking back on towards the point with Spree. Jake towards the side with the whole hog there. Now they're and Uber have already got the damage done. They've made the hits they need to. Now Train does get desuited on the point. It's going to be Vol charged up, giving himself a shield. Enough time for Super to get back on the point and help them contest this one. It's an overtime, and this is good news either way here. Hammers are putting a lot of pressure on. Point finally flipped back towards Luminosity, but a huge deficit they need to make up in this.
Yeah, if they can actually kill Icefelt there, then just regroup back up. They're going to have a man advantage. They're not going to have a full advantage necessarily, as Super does have his Rashare ready to go, but he's ready with his pulse bomb. But that's something they can potentially work off of. And let's see, they're going to try to push back in. 16% accrued here for Luminosity. This is a really dangerous position to be in. If they lose this fight, you can say goodbye to Super.
Recalling the Graviton there, but just going to shield himself off, and well, eventually goes down, but it took his time. Still a 2-for-1 at the moment in terms of kills, and it's in favor of Hammers, but Uber makes it even out to 4v4 on the point. Icebox, though, is completely surrounded, and there's not a heck of a lot Competing to do to try and keep him alive there. A clever pulse bomb, though, flicks around the corner, catches on towards Vol, it takes him down, and now Luminosity, again, with control. Super forced to come forward now. Knows he needs to get on this point, or at least keep applying pressure. But he realizes he lacks teammates. He's only there with a Vast. They need to give ground and go for another push.
Surprised they actually committed to that Graviton Surge too, considering how many ultimates they had coming up relatively soon off the back of that. But they did force out quite a bit of ultimates on the Luminosity side. No more Nano Boost, no more Earth Shatter, no more Pulse Bomb. The Graviton Surge is now coming up for Spree, which means they can't combo it here. So they know they're relatively safe to push in here, but not to mention the Graviton Surge got
It did indeed. No good there. Spree not able to connect out one at all. Credit to Train. He's eaten another one now. Getting pretty fat on that Diva. But Icebolt being shielded up was just knocked to the ground. Now it's Train again. Comes in with the self-destruct. He doesn't find anyone, but Rob finds Uber. That's huge. Anna getting on towards Tracer when he's being pressured like that is a huge boon for your team if you can achieve it. And that should be it. That really should be Hammers now. Just locking the door in the face of Luminosity here. Super just charging forward there. Nothing Super Pluke could do. Pinned up against the wall, then the whole hog, hold him in place. First round going over towards Hammers here, and while the round may have gotten a little bit hectic towards the end of it there, Hammers seemed in such control.
Yeah, I'm actually curious to ask Slasher about this, because I don't necessarily know Uba in terms of his Tracer play, but what would you rate his Tracer play compared to Icebolt, or in general compared to like a lot of the people out there? Hey, you're muted, by the way.
Oh, okay. You know, I agree with you. Iceboll's Tracer is better than Ube. Ube's Tracer is pretty solid, and it was working. I mean, maybe if he starts out as Tracer, they win the round. This map's actually pretty good for Roadhog, so they're probably going to go right back to quad tank. But I think you're right. I mean, Ube not be able to play Diva and letting Iceball beat it is concerning.
Still, Luminosity are opting to keep Icefeld on that Diva. This time, like you said, Roadhog is going to be the pick here. Again, back to 4 tanks, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not sick of it by now, you're probably never going to get sick of it, and I applaud. But it's going to be a mutual charge. They're both Super Quick and Spree and knockdown. Both of them receive. Oh my lord. The double kill for the Roadhog. That is ridiculous stuff there. Anyway, it's a 5v5 over on the point. Good use of the grenades and counter. Good little bionic grenade coming out. It's going to take Luminosity pretty dead. And now I support the rest of Luminosity back. Again, they lose the start of the fight.
Someone say hook 2.0. Like, what the hell? Somehow Jake hits the hook like over a wall onto Uba there, takes him down with them. But nonetheless, yeah, they're going to fight. That's one of the important factors, that this is a team that seems on, when it comes to cost, wins the majority of the initial fights, which gives you such a lot of extra control and a lot of extra pressure coming into that, knowing you have an ult advantage as long as you can manage it correctly. But I'm not really seeing much of a switch up between both teams. Jake is still taunting with those hooks. Instead of trying to spam the shield on the high ground, he goes onto the point to actually look for something. And even if you're on the backside, he kicks up mineral.
That Train gets desuited though. It went very, very deep and was surrounded briefly, but he gets the kill on the Super Pluke with the Bunny Blaster and nothing else. Sometimes cuteness is the only weapon you need, even against a man in big, shiny armor, and they're going to push Luminosity back again. Uber just sitting in the backside, does get a cheeky little hook on towards a Vast. Sometimes the Roadhog can also be a ninja too, but it's not enough to give Luminosity even the slightest foothold here. They themselves need to regroup despite getting a kill there. Now some ultimates are starting to come into play, but the same can be said for Hammers here. They've got Gravitons, both teams. This is going to be a messy fight, Jason.
It definitely is. It's going to be a lot of greased up fat lads from Grimsby, if you guys know who that is, or what that is. Just swinging away at each other, because in these tight areas, it's really hard to really push yourself through, but they're trying to really sweep themselves onto the point here, but the Gravitons are going to pull so many people all together.
I heard you like Overwatch. That's pretty confusing, but very cheekily, their Train gets the triple kill, comes in with the self-destruct, and Jake pulled Super Pluke off the edge into the abyss. No one was going to benefit from a Reinhardt shield in that case. That's some pretty nutty stuff here. It's 4-man with ultimates for Hammers, and I just don't see Luminosity winning this round.
No, not really at all here. Considering the ultimates that we do have Hammers ready to use, all you have is a nano boost out of heat on to make something work. I mean, that hook's gonna really help things out, but Super Pluke getting slammed down to the ground, not picked off, but again, Mineral, he goes down to Jake. He doesn't even have a chance to make these fights work.
It's been struggling here as well, but at least Icefeld and Uber have some time alone with Train, but sadly not able to get the kill. It's not enough time for Luminosity, and they are being outclassed on this map. Slasher, it's your favorite. We're seeing 4 tank on both sides of the coin here. Well, let's get past that point and talk about the specifics here, because both teams are playing the same comps. But Hammers are playing a lot better. Why?
I think they're just better at 4 tank. I think this is why they're playing so well right now. In this tournament and in this meta, they have a lot of practice with it. And they're kind of showing some holes right now in Luminosity. It's not surprising to see Ube going back to Tracer. I think they'll have a little bit more of a better time.
And a potential Mei here from Jake. So we see Mei on this map sometimes.
Good
Jason, what are your thoughts here? What are your thoughts, guys? Both Meis.
Yes, we're seeing Icefeld on Tracer. Yeah, both Meis. I mean, a lot of tight areas to fight on, especially on the point, especially when you get into the high ground as well, just to zone each other. And when you have that Tracer advantage, you can get out a little bit quicker than they can. They kind of wall you off, but it's going to be tough. I think it's actually going to be looking really good for Luminosity.
Well, now we know what it takes to get Icefeld on that Tracer. Have Uber play Mei. Super Fluke, though, not a good start. Again, getting bested by his opposite number. Super, without the Fluke, doing very, very nicely for himself. And Icefeld sneaks in through the shield, gets himself a kill with the Pulse Pistols, but needs to get respect here to the Reinhardt, and the rest of Hammers sitting on the point. It's a freeze here, that Ice Cold. Jake gonna put him on ice as well, and even Icefeld gonna fall down to Jake. Again, getting in with those white clicks, doing the damage. And again, first fight won by Hammers. They're gonna be sitting up on the high ground here, very, very comfortable.
I think we need to look at the way Jake plays compared to Ube here. Because even on the Mei, he was playing more of a flanking role. He went straight for heat on, picked him off in that fight by freezing him up. On the Roadhog on the last map, he was constantly looking for these hooks onto mid-roll towards the backside, constantly flanking, not trying to be up with the front of his team. I think that's a potential hole that we could see Luminosity capitalize on. The fact that he's always looking for these flanks. If you do speed up and catch him out, we could have a good fight.
Dan Super Fluke falling very early in the fight. He's getting dumps at this map. I'm just going to put it plain and simple. And Icefeld, the only player on Luminosity to get a kill. He managed to stick a pulse bomb there, but that's it. That's all Luminosity could achieve in that fight at all. Unbelievable stuff. Big shout outs to Stir for the host there as well. Gonna love me a bit of Steven. Thank you, mate. But again, 50% here, and it looks like Hammer's looking very, very solid in this map. We're going to take it one apiece here in this best of 5, and this is delivering.
Yeah, again, no ultimate's ready to use. I mean, Super, he's ready for his Earth Shatter. He's actually just protect his team in the meantime. It looks like Jake's going to be sticking with his team this time to spread them out, because if they do go this high ground, actually cannot get them away.
Charge in, Super Fluke this time manages to actually catch on the wall. Super gets the damage, and Mineral gets the job done, gets the finishing damage, and Icefeld now are over the top here. For some reason, Jake and Rob420 want to hang up on the high ground, but they're forced to drop down now. A wall desperately placed in front is going to keep Jake protected as well as a Avast, but it also means they can't really interact in this fight. Then they're left on their own in a bit of a 5v2 situation. They will have to go down. They have no one to back them up. And again, Luminosity continue the trend of losing for most of the round and winning their final fight. They've got good ultimates to be resting on, but the fact of the matter is, so do Hammers. There's no reason why they can't come back in and win off the back of it. Both Annas have their ultimates here, but that Graviton Surge for Spree may well be the decider in this fight.
Yeah, it should ideally, like, Pulse Bomb Graviton Surge combo should give you one clean fight as long as Train doesn't eat any of it, which in an ideal world you won't be able to. Rob, you're going to keep focusing the wall and that grab solidify them. The Luminosity, they get 2 ultimates used, you get a clean team wipe, you get the set built up, and more importantly, off the back of that, Hammers didn't use a single ultimate, but Jake didn't get any ult percent off that fight either, which is actually a big no-no for him. He really needed to get that Blizzard ready to go, to just zone them off the point and give you an easy capture back. So a little bit hurting for Hammers, but they still have a lot of ultimates to use nonetheless, especially with Grab Surge coming up now.
Look, if you have an ult disadvantage and you come out of a fight with an ult advantage, that's a win for me, especially when you're so far ahead here. But let's see what Hammers do with that now. It's going to be Super gets a mana boost. It's going to be a sound barrier here coming out for both sides. But that's going to get chucked down very, very quickly in this fight. It's projectiles, it's Hammers flying everywhere, and Super's very, very low, forced to back away. Now Uber is standing tall, switching off of that Mei. Now getting some Roadhog time in, and we'd love it. 3 kills for him over the fight. And again, Luminosity can hold.
Man, Super really didn't have an opportunity to use his Earth Shatter there too. Really good control, really aggressive play at a Fluke to just swing in his face the whole time. Because he had his available ready to go, able to actually hit it onto him. But the Grab Surge, Blizzard combo can be just as deadly as a Pulse Buff combo if you can hit this correctly. And look how grouped are they, how grouped up they are. So you're gonna catch 2. And this, I think this is a good fight because now Scrutiny in the middle of this one. They can just secure these kills and can take this one back.
Yeah, Graviton Surge keep everyone on Luminosity together. They get caught up by the Blizzard. They are going to be dashed aside. Nothing you can do about that fight. It was pretty much a 6-for-1 fight, to be honest with you. Only one player dropping down on the side of Hammers now, and Hidan hanging around a little bit longer than he otherwise should. There's no time left, and that's going to be it. Hammers secure the map at 3-0 here on Nepal to make it 1-1 in this series. And there's no doubt about it, gents. Hammers are better than King of the Hill.
that back cap was so important too. If we look at Slash, if he didn't get on that point and cap it before the fight was finished, that should have been another fight for Luminosity.
Yeah, if Diva gets on the point, not only do they win the team fight up above, but they still Luminosity, and they don't have to get another fight. So, but really, I mean, while Luminosity was able to take it back maybe at the end of each of those rounds, pretty convincing coming out from Hammers. Out of all the things that they tried there for Luminosity, I'd almost rather put Icefelt on Tracer and have Ube play on Roadhog and not have the Diva, just because Tracer is the key to this anti-quad tank type of status. Luckily for them, they're not going to have to go to another King of the Hill in this series, so we'll have to see how they progress forward if they're just going to keep Icefelt on Diva, just because it's easier on these payloads.
On that note, really quickly, Sash, talk about Icefelt playing Tracer. I would imagine if he's playing Tracer, knowing that Jake's constantly looking for these flanks, he could help protect the supports a little bit more and maybe try to get in the face of Jake, where it's obviously decently hard for a dog to hit a hook on a Tracer and pick up that 1v1. Or you're not looking for anything like that to really happen?
I mean, it is the Ana Tracer battle of just making sure that Tracer can not do as much as she wants to. I don't think Luminosity have the experience in the comps that they've been running. Ube has tended to try to want to go to other heroes first, including like a Genji or the Pharah or Soldier, before he goes to Tracer. So if it's him playing it, I'm not as worried if I'm Hammer. Icefelt is going to be a different story, though. I think he showed in that one round he could do more work than Ube, but they're just not going to have the Diva to also jump on Ana. So Icefelt's going to have to win one-on-ones against Ana, and Tracer versus Ana, probably a little bit favored but for Tracer, but it's still pretty close right now with Grenade.
And Anna's hard to hit as well. Bear in mind, like her head hitbox is very, very small. So for a Tracer as well to get her, you need to be fairly precise on picking up that damage. Guys, do you think that Luminosity are, I'll ask Jason first, I guess, do you think they're overvaluing this Diva? You talked, Slasher, that you'd rather see, Ube go towards a Roadhog, Icefelt on the Tracer. Do you think that Luminosity are overvaluing it? And do you think they're respecting Diva too much if they're trying to always, try and mirror the composition we're seeing from Hammers? Or do you think it's the right amount of regard to give that kind of pick right now?
I could see them overvaluing Diva in the aspect of there's no soldier on the enemy team, which is something Diva's really good at dealing with. You can obviously mitigate an entire ultimate out of him. You can push him out of high ground. You can kind of contest him head to head. All you're really hitting, I mean, the thing is, because you have so many tanks, you don't really have a lot of kill potential against you. Well, your Diva, and because they don't have necessarily as much damage, but you have a lot more self-destructs. And you have a lot more mobility, which makes it a little bit more annoying for the supports. I don't know. I don't think you necessarily need the Diva here when there's no soldier to really contend with. If you are like Luminosity and you can afford to put someone like Icefelt on a hero he's so good at.
I mean, this is a map that Luminosity has a little bit of an advantage, where Quad Tank is a little bit harder to run, and long range hit scan can do very well, especially on first point defense and even on offense the entire way through, where maybe now Luminosity tries to do something else and not have to run Diva. I mean, Diva is still really good at winning the shield war and the shield battle, which is extremely important throughout this entire meta, and Diva is actually still really good against Roadhog, which makes it so if you don't have Diva, you're just making it hard for yourself just because her use is really high. But because Hammers doesn't have that soldier or a hit scan player, I think it is worth it for them to try something different.
See, on that note of the shield ward, by the way, I actually haven't seen a whole ton of it. Like, it's something that's so prevalent in the meta that you need to be able to win that to have the advantage with your Reinhardt. But I feel like with the way Jake's been playing, he's not really going for shield spam. He's looking for picks. So I don't know if I've seen actually any shield break so far in these games today. I'm trying to think if I've seen a single one.
It actually goes along with super being aggressive. They don't necessarily have
exactly.
to shield as often.
Yeah, and that makes a big difference. I mean, look, at Super Plute, we'll talk about him later. We'll try and keep an eye on him in this match because it seems like he is the first to die every single time in these fights. And sometimes you expect that as Reinhardt, but he's doing it without getting a pick or getting a sizable contribution in these games. But it's going to be Luminosity on the attacking side. They're in red, Hammers in blue. And we'll see what these two teams are going to bring when the fight comes to a head. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, it wouldn't be Overwatch in 2017 without 4 tanks. And Ube and Spree looking ridiculous as they try quietly to sneak up to the high ground, but they don't catch Train. He backs away quickly before the hook connects.
Yeah, just smart read out of him. Just going to be holding onto the sword. Wow. He's gonna be holding server room. I swear I'm having a stroke right now. And letting the rest of the monsters push the payload up. Jake again, look where he is. He's looking for a pick, let him push forward, but this time they're gonna turn around. He's gonna be the one hooked down.
Yeah, Drake gets hooked in and now he's kind of out of position, forced to take a breather while Spree just tries to laser him on down. Train finds Super Plug, both Reinhardts are out now after Ube deals with Super himself, and Train heads up to the high ground here. So a little bit of a backseat taken by Hammers now, just going to try and use that high ground on Icebell. Tries to follow up there, but Train catches Ube, and this is looking pretty darn good now for Hammers. Icebell's going to be forced out of position. Back away now. Desuited as well, and Rob 420 finds him there with the biotic rifle at long range. He scoped in to find that shot, and well, Luminosity, tails between their legs, Jason, straight back to base.
Yeah, I mean, when you lose Super Plug and you're being attacked from the high ground with a Deep and a Roadhog, then you have a fully charged Zarya in front of you with the support of a Lucio and an Ana, it's just kind of like, well, where do you really go from there? And what do? Well, they had to run after actually taking a lot of damage and pretty much giving all his Graviton surge. He's now at 92%.
Oh, that's pretty scary. Self-destructing from behind, but clever movements here from Luminosity. They move up towards the side room to avoid the blast. But it may not be enough here because still, Train is pressuring from inside the side room. And Luminosity are forced to give ground and they're forced to give Uber up for dead. There's no way that they could get him out of that situation. He was cornered in that side room and dealt with. And Luminosity won't be able to make any more progress in that fight.
Jesus, look at Train. He just self-destructed and he's at 68% again because he's able to spam away at Uba with the support of Bull to shield him up to allow him to do this free damage. That's pretty hard. Apparently we're not showing the game, by the way. I don't know if that was actually changed. Apparently it's just on us.
Carry on. Carry on. Anyway.
Apparently my scene changed. It's my bad. I take full responsibility.
Right in there as well, but doesn't really get anything for it here at this stage. Vol not finding the target, but still first two kills going in favor of Hammer, so they're not complaining. Super Quick though, it's a pretty darn nice Graviton surge here, or an Earth Shadow should I say, and then the Graviton follows up. He gets 3 kills, and now Super Quick headlining that kill feed. Finally 4 for him, and a clean up for Luminosity finally to make some progress here. They've been held for quite some time. A bit of a weird fight there, and it all started off with Vol not really connecting on that Graviton.
Yeah, they didn't really use anything for that fight too, so if there was any sort of chance for a refight, which it looks like there's going to be happening here, a sort of contest, they have no kills. They should just maintain this.
Self-destruct being shot up towards the backside here by Train. Again, not finding too much now to do on towards Jake to start with. His Icebell going to benefit from that nano boost and it helps him take down Super. With Rob 420 up on the high ground, Icebell wanted to try and chase him down, but he didn't quite make the jump, but it doesn't matter. Rob 420 has to back away as Avast is dealt with and Train finally is put to rest here. First checkpoint coming up here for Luminosity now. A bit of head of steam being built up here and they're going to try and keep it going. Hook connects on towards Jake. He gets shielded, but it's broken. It's not going to be enough. Super might be caught here as well. He at least trades out on towards Ube, but he's forced to go forward and try and find more. This is going to let Luminosity into the hangar, and it's going to be a little bit tricky for Hammers to set up and have optimal positioning on top of the shuttle now that they were so far extended fighting at the hangar door.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate for Hammers, but I mean, the upside if they did win that with the high-risk, high-reward play is they would have been able to maintain him at this choke point with that door closed, which would have given them a lot of extra control, but they're still maintaining the high ground position. Oh no, that's something that can get charged. It's the shuttle and it picks up 4 kills!
Icebell with a lovely little 4-piece inside the shuttle there. There is no way you're escaping that one. Well, it's one way to go to the moon. They're on the back of a self-destruct, and he'll be happy with that one. We talked about his diva a lot. We've mentioned that maybe we'd like to see him on more of those DPS characters, but Luminosity are making very good use of him right now, especially in this map. Stasha said they had the advantage, and it definitely seems to be the case now after a little bit of struggling at the start. The kills keep coming through, and at all times, Hammers are less than 6 players trying to contest. They finally back away. They've got to go over the edge here. They can't spawn too close to the doorway, and this is not good. So much free ground being given to Luminosity.
Well, more importantly there too, with those force people killing themselves, they don't give up any extra ult %. And that's something that they kind of desperately need on the side here of Luminosity, with Icebell, Plug both using theirs. But Hedon will have his nanoboost ready to go. Luba's going to be pulled in. He's not going to be healed up enough. This will force the payload to actually be stopped and halted. And potentially a chance here for the rest of Hammer to actually build some ults themselves.
Super Plug having to give ground, and a bit of aggression now coming from Hammers. They've been quiet for the last couple minutes in the round, but now starting to come alive, realizing that while they started off very, very well, the match is going to be decided on how long it takes for the enemy to get to the payload and get it done. So Train We'll go up onto the high ground now himself. Split from the rest of his team, but he wants to try and drop down behind, but it's going to be a Graviton surge. 3 players caught in there. Super Fluke is drawn out of the Graviton. He can't do damage, but it doesn't matter. Icefall with 3 kills over the fight. Train being desuited. Avast just trying to get the heck out there. And Luminosity are really starting to come alive.
Yeah, they are. Honestly, they're sort of snowballed this one, and considering Nepal looked like they weren't even playing the game at all, they've been able to really kind of fight back in this one after kind of just being absolute slaughter. But there's still a lot of ultimates ready to go again on Hammers. You can't really underestimate having this Graviton Surge ready to go, not to mention Super, who hasn't really been allowed to be as aggressive as he has wanted to.
This is going to hurt, Jason. That's going to be a great self-destruct coming in the backside. Train gets 3. And the Train don't stop for no one, not for Luminosity at this stage. At least Hammers can put a bit of a barrier in front of Luminosity now and try and set up a little bit more. But a messy fight. Gravitons from both sides. Self-destructs coming in from both sides. This time it was going to be the Diva from Hammers getting the goods.
So now coming back into this fight, you've got Hammers, more importantly, position themselves on the high ground, where Train and Avast, and even technically Jake over towards the left-hand side. Well, with Train getting pulled in, that should be really dangerous for them, as he's going to have support from the rest of his team. Jake just jumping in from the high ground. He's going to get the pull onto Icebolt as well, but not get the D-suit. Both teams just going to get the disengage off, though Train is still really far up, really overcommitted, and not really being focused down, surprisingly.
No, managed to jump out there. Icefall going to try and chase him down, and then he does get hooked in. But Uber, just as he hooks Train in, Rob 420 picks him up. The Ana doing some damage from the back line, and now both teams popping sound barriers almost simultaneously here. And so far, it's Hammers getting the better of this fight, though. Super Fluke going down already. Spree's caught by a swing of the hammer on the payload. Super standing tall there. And yes, they will keep Heat alive just long enough to add insult to injury. And there's about a minute left here, Jason, for Luminosity to get to the end of the map.
They wanted to keep him alive longer, but Rob, he just wanted blood. He just wanted kills. And eventually secures that one. Yeah, his nano boost is going to be up, available, ready to go too. And you can see they're actually not holding the high ground anymore. They're actually trying to hold them more towards the choke. They can cover more ground more slowly to get to the payload.
Oh, that's a nice Graviton Surge as well. Jake and Rob 420 being caught up in that one is big, and Super's not in a position to do damage. He had a nano boost, but he was sort of caught out in the open and didn't want to charge or risk that one, or maybe he already used it. Either way, it was a very split setup there. A bit of interesting positioning, and over-aggression again from Hammers is going to be their downfall. Now the payload's on the final stretch. 17 seconds remain here. Luminosity back up.
Push
they
the
did it
payload!
with Train. I don't know why. They did it for Train. They're giving time for Hammers to get on.
Oh my god, they gave so much ground away. They didn't let them get out of their choke. Let's get out of their spawn and charge on the ground. There's no one on the payload. They can't even contest.
It's going to be an even fight, though. 2 for 2 as those Gravitons do come down. And Spree knows he needs to get to the payload, but he can't get there. He's cut down by Vol, inches away from the payload. And Luminosity, all at once, turn their head to deal with Train, who was up above them on the high ground. But they allow Hammers to get position back on the payload. They gave him a crucial couple of seconds to at least get out of spawn and get ready to defend. And defend they did. 2 checkpoints only for Luminosity, but they could have had so much more.
Lasher, I want to just everyone to do a collective facepalm there. Like, okay, tell me if I'm wrong. Was that the wrong move for them to do that, to turn around and try to take down Train and not push the payload to at least force them into their choke of their spawn?
Questionable decision making. Maybe they were unsure if he had ult. I mean, Train has ult there. He's able to. That's why he's able to delay. I think if he doesn't, he probably goes back with the payload and tries to regroup. Luminosity should have recognized that and now spent all of their attention, considering the map ended without any of them on the payload, even though they lost the fight to the Zarya ult. In hindsight, no, they probably should have ignored him, but it's hard to fault them for trying to do, 5-on-1, take him out and push forward.
You make a great point. We know how devastating those Diva ultimates can be from behind, and it's hard to track ultimates sometimes in Overwatch. Really, you have to kind of know how a particular player is performing. And I know sitting in scrims with teams, they have an approximate idea of the key ults in the game. Like they know if a Reinhardt ult's going to go off. But it's hard to know so late in the game. You can't keep track anymore there. So I understand the need to respond to it. And let's be honest here. If Train was going to ult from so high up, Super Flick would have to be very, very quick on having his shield up at the right angle to prevent them from getting wiped there and then. So you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't, Jason.
Yeah. I guess in hindsight, like that is definitely a way to look at it. It's just, it blows my mind though that they sent that many people back and didn't keep the payload moving to at least force some sort of a problem when it came to the spawn. Like, you can hold them in those choke points, but nonetheless, it's a decision they're gonna have to live with now because they didn't complete the map, and we've seen Hammer be really aggressive and generally really fast when it comes to his first initial point on payload maps.
Well, now it's time for Hammers to attack here. If they can finish the map, they'll have won it and it'll be a 2-1. Either way, it'll be a 2-1 following this one. But now, guess what, guys? 4 tanks. No surprises there. Just keeping you updated on that track. I don't expect it to change too much during this series. But a lot of ground has been given up here for Luminosity. They're happy to drop you back and then start a fight with Super Fluke at the help.
And you can see Jake on the high ground again. He's looking for the hooks on the hit, and he's not trying to go for the shield battle. He's just trying to look for the picks. Trying to let Roadhog do what he does best. Get these initial kills to make something happen. But after he's going to get hooked in, he's looking for the 1v1 against Uba. He takes him down. Clearly Uba's not listening to Moon here because he never hooked first. And that will get him an advantage now over to Hammer.
That's massive. Keaton was put to sleep long range by Rob420. He hit him up on the high ground. There was nothing he could do at the start of that fight. Graviton Surge comes out, and that means it's going to be impossible for Luminosity to follow up on the damage. The Earth Shadow is going to make it hard as they can't get now. It's going to be Super moving forward. Icefelt dropping. Super Fluke now just peeking out, and this charge from Super won't be punished. There's not enough players for Luminosity, and Super Fluke's just purely there to try and slow things down.
Well, they're using Nano Boost now. They're trying to get at least Super Fluke in a position to contest this one, but I feel like it's a fight you're just not going to win. You just don't have the manpower there. You lose people. In the meantime, it just gives a lot of free ult farm over to Hammer Esports as they capture the first point now with 5 minutes remaining to finish off the map.
5 minutes intact, and well, they've made a lot quicker time than Luminosity did on this part of the map, but this is a treacherous one, Jason. Lots of pitfalls and traps for the unwary, and this particular stage can be very interesting. Shuttle control going to be taken though, at least here for Hammers. You can see they're not allowing Luminosity to get up on the super high ground, but very good by Icefelt. He moves Super off the high ground now, and a hook coming in, and that's going to give control. Volt did manage to shield him off, prevent himself from being taken down by Ube, but now it's going to be a fight. Graviton in, Earthshatter comes down, but Rock420 and Train are all over this one like a moss on a rock. And Sleep Dart on Ube keeps him out of the fight, but this is all Hammers all the time, 24/7. Miss Sound Barrier now for the attacking team, and that'll keep making an easy end to the fight for them here. Gibraltar, they're taking it by storm.
Yeah, this is just a downward spiral. This is just a lot of momentum, a lot of snowballing really coming into effect. Right, so I have some really good positioning, but not to mention Jake just constantly hitting hooks. Nobody didn't have his right away down to that. Ursula comes in with a self-destruct. Ursula actually caught anything though.
No, it didn't at the stage. The payload may be blocking vision there for the Reinhardt as he did let it go. But regardless, Icefelt finds Volt. Icefelt standing on the payload there as well, gets behind Super Shield enough to take him out. Again, Rob420 finds Ube. Anna is so strong right now, and as a Tracer, it's never a sure thing that you're going to win that particular duel. However, it will be Luminosity managing to hold at least for now. It will need to be Hammers pushing back in, lacking ultimates with the exception of the Nano Boost here from Rob420, and also crucial time has been given to Luminosity to let them set up here on the shuttle.
I'm just really confused how they lost that fight in general when they had so many ultimates ready to go. Earthshot really could have been the game changer, but the big skirmish, this is not going to end good for either team in this area. This tight, close spaces with 2 Reinhardts being Nano Boost.
The Sleep Dart, though, that's big. Super trying to get some damage done in that fight. It's definitely a fight lost for Hammers, and they get towards the payload, but there's only 2 of them there as well. Train and Jake ran towards the payload. They had to leave Super behind as he was sleeping up on the high ground, and 2 tanks is not going to be enough to break through 4 tanks on the side of Luminosity here as well. It's a numbers game, easy mathematics, ladies and gentlemen. That's Overwatch for you in a nutshell right now, at least. 2 minutes 44 on the clock, and Hammers have to go again.
I would love to see them just backdoor this payload somehow, but I don't think Luminosity can let anything like that happen. They're constantly keeping Icefall on the payload or even Mineral in that position. Train trying to go the focus on the heat, and that's when Super's going for the big charge. And the Graviton's just going to come through with the pulse bomb. They can buy another attack out of every score. They're just going to lose too many people.
Yep, swings and roundabouts. Luminosity going to maintain control. It's going to be the God combo right now. That big bang, Pulse Bomb and Graviton Surge brought together. And when you're all walking together on a causeway, you need to clump up, otherwise you're going to fall down. There was no choice for Hammers there. They had to really accept that. Again, they're drawing ultimates out of Luminosity, which is fine. They're close to some of their own here. The Graviton from Vol is going to be very important, given that, well, Spree just used his.
Yeah, we're going to see if Icefall can actually block out on this one. And Uber towards the high ground, even him on top of the show, just trying to rain down bullets from above. You're looking for the push in, looking for a ball, looking for some sort of grab search, which is super cool. Not such the bargaining. gonna help finish them off.
Oh, this could be a nasty self-destruct coming in. Train gets hit on there as well. Anna lacking the mobility to get away from that one. And now we're going to have Mineral and Ice Cold on the payload. Just the two of them. Even the sound barrier expended by Hammers to win that fight. They knew it was a must-win, and they do get it done. Ube tantalizing, just teasing on the payload to give themselves a couple more seconds. And we're going to see Super Quick forced to drop off the edge there. He got the close spawn. He wants to spawn right back at the start of the map to join his team. But Hammers aren't giving Luminosity a chance to take a breath.
Oh, poor Ice Felt. He gets desuited, and he doesn't even have the chance to regroup with his team. He's just trying to go for the jump off towards the ledge, which he looks like will be able to. Nope. Jake's gonna. Oh my God! You hook him in, you sleep him. There's just no chance for him to get a decent or just to die. This man, just let him die, please, someone. Thank God.
That's really gonna hurt there. Ice Cold won't be back for another 6 seconds at least.
And the marker's just right around the corner too. Like that's rough. That's gonna hurt you. Get the payload just right on the cup to finish you.
Yeah, very, very close now as well. We'll see if they can get it done though. Super Fluke coming forward, gets put to sleep. Rob 420 comes up with the goods yet again. Super Fluke then, as soon as he gets up, he's Earth Shattered down to the ground. No chance for him to act with that nano boost, but Luminosity are coming back into this with their own. Rob 420 is felled by a pulse bomb from Uber, and now Super and Train and Avast, 2 tanks and Lucio trying to keep it going for Hammers. It's not going to be enough. Train can't even get a kill himself. Super will be caught out. You're trying to retreat with the shield, but there's no chance when Uber gets up behind you, and that will be him taken down.
Even with a nano boosted Reinhardt that you hit with an Earth Shatter, you hit actually 2 or 3 people, they still lose that fight because I think Rob died to Uber with the pulse bomb. Like, that was a big turning point. They lost a big amount of healing they needed to keep their tanks alive, and now they're just come back into this next fight with a bit of remaining, and nowhere else is to be seen. Train's about to have that self-destruct up, which is a little bit behind the team, but this Graviter is just trying to wait this year.
No, Graviton Surge Pulse Bomb is auto lose if you're not bad at the game. And Uber knows how to stick him. Gets 3 kills there for the fight, and a minute 10 remaining on the clock here. Now the payload, well, just under the causeway, just past the causeway. A little bit hard to see on my screen, but it is very, very near. And that means that one good fight is all Hammers really need to get the job done here. Ultimate-wise, they've got themselves a self-destruct here, which is very, very strong on this point. But given where Luminosity are standing right now, they can abscond to the side rooms and avoid the blast.
Also, we're gonna put a blast themselves and actually behind them. He walked up by Super, but look at this. You see again by Jake coming in. The payload's still moving. They're not gonna test the payload. Turn around Luminosity. This payload's about to finish.
Jason's freaking out. Jake almost gets it done, almost does the unthinkable, trying to sneak the payload across the line. A little bit cheesy, a little bit cheeky, but ultimately not enough for Hammers here. They don't manage to get it there, and now 22 seconds remaining on the clock here. I see that look on your face, Jason. You know what you just did.
I thought my mic didn't work.
Oh god, Earth Shatter for Super here as well. One more fight, Jason. 10 seconds remaining.
So they're going to contest it here as I try to compose myself here. Jake on the again, trying to go in towards the back line, maybe towards that one. But Nana puts it on, as well as Super. This is going to be a rough fight.
Yep, both teams with sound barriers here, but Super Fluke's knocked towards the ground. Then a Graviton. This is a perfect situation here for Hammers. They get Ice Spell caught up, and they're not quite able to desuit him until the Graviton comes in from Luminosity, and that was huge. Perfect fire grenade coming in from Hidan there inside the Graviton. Cuts down to size Hammers as they try and press forward, and that's going to be it. The Graviton from Spree coming up at just the right time. Vol can't get close enough. Gibraltar goes to Luminosity.
Wow, honestly, with how quickly Hammers took that first and second point, I really did not expect, at least the first point. The second point was a little bit more rough, for Luminosity to actually hold on to that one, but just really good ult management towards the end, I think is really what held them together. Like the fact they're able to use the Pulse Bomb Graviton Surge combo and have that guarantee be enough to wipe them, and to be able to depend on the least amount of ultimates to constantly keep winning this fight, to constantly keep taking away the amount of time that Hammers had to work with. It's really well done.
Well, Slasher, I mean, what's the difference here for Hammers? They started very, very strong, but they were held to the point of switching Jake on towards Genji at the end here. What do we see from Luminosity that allowed them to, I guess, plug the dam?
I mean, it seems pretty similar to Dorado. Hammers just not being able to close out the map. Having it all the way, all they need is one team fight. They have some time. They have a little bit of ability to build out some ults and get positioning, and some poor decision-making, and some poor ult usage and combinations at the end of these maps are the reason that they may not have be up 3-0 and the winners of this series. Now they're down 1-2. They still have an opportunity, but there's no more King of the Hill maps left in the series, and they've made it difficult for themselves. I mean, I think Ube's Tracer has been pretty solid on defense for that map. So that did go better than King of the Hill.
What is it? I mean, like, okay, so obviously Hammers are a little bit of a newer team, and playing at this level, which isn't sometimes even the top level, can be tougher for newer teams here. What is it that makes it hard for a team to close out games, Slasher? Can you identify any particular facet about Hammers that prevented them from doing that, or is it just experience, or is it just composure? What do you think?
I think it's a mix of those, and then that ties in with like shot calling and poor usage of ultimates in this game does make the result a lot of the time in professional matches. And now with lowered ult charges, you don't have as many ultimates. So if you really do not either conserve ults when you're in these games by not using too many and then keeping some for team fights, or not using the combinations correctly, you are going to lose. And so at the end of these games where the situations are much more tense, they seem to not be able to pull through as much.
So now we're going to Numbani for the next map. And Jason, let's throw it back to the previous time we actually saw this played by Hammers. Of course, it was going up against the Spicy Boys, and Hammers managed to take a very, very strong win in that series. What did we see from Hammers? And do you think Luminosity have what it takes to sort of deal with that?
I feel like So we saw some weird play. Like, for instance, we saw neither team be able to hold the point on the first go-through of Numbani on defense. We saw Hammer actually take the map in 3 minutes of time, I believe it was, and had tons of time to actually work around the last attempt. We saw Super playing Winston, if I'm not mistaken. We even saw, I think it was Jake playing no, it was a Vast playing Torbjorn, wasn't it? Because they ran a solo support in that one. And we saw like the changes we wanted to see out of the team actually come out, because we kind of hammered them on being, only be able to play the current meta, not be able to flex different heroes. I feel like Luminosity in general is more of an experienced team when it comes to Numbani, though, just from the history they have together. The history they have is playing in general, and they have a little bit more flexibility, like with a fair, which can be relatively effective on that first point if you do use them correctly.
I mean, Hammers ran 4 tank both times on both their defenses. One time was with Mei, and that did not go so well. And then they switched to Tor, both times with single support Ana. The second time it worked out. Now, it is to be said that they were going up against Divecom. And Luminosity, more than likely, is going to run quad tank again, or triple tank with Tracer. Though I think if you're going to throw out Farah, this is probably the time to do it. I mean, it could be pretty good here.
And I mean, what's your job on Farah on this map? I mean, obviously doing damage aside, what is your first port of call when you sort of bring a Farah on the attacking side on towards this map, Jason?
So Torbjorn turrets, take that down immediately if you can. Also dislodging people from high ground. It kind of depends on where your team wants to go. So if you want to push high ground, you can sneak around garden, knock them out the high ground, thus giving your team the man advantage. You can also potentially dive in towards the backhand side, like towards the right hand upper side if you're that ballsy, but I don't know if Ube wants to go that kind of route. So ideally high ground control, and to help facilitate high ground control for your team.
Yeah, because that more than likely Hammers is going to have all their players on the top left side facing on offense. So facing towards the point on offense, because they don't have long range hit scan. There's no one on the top right side. So also Ana probably won't be there alone. She'll be on the top left with the entire team. So Farah can try to get some boops also on that side and knock people off the map. And because everyone is composed in there, as Jason says, going through garden is a decent option. Even going towards main, because you don't have to worry about hit scan being on that top right side, are both things that they could try here. I would like to see that more than the Tracer if they had an option. And they don't seem to want to do Soldier at all. They haven't tried to do Soldier or triple tank for really any of these games. They tend to do quad tank or go into Tracer.
So isn't the Soldier, though, that's because Icefeld's the Soldier player of the team. And because they keep running D.Va, they don't have the opportunity to flex them. I feel like that's like a really big factor that hurts Luminosity in this current patch.
I mean, they will be helped, during the next patch. Because Ube is their projectile player, and Icefeld is the one that goes D.Va, and Icefeld is the hit scan player. It's hard for Ube to play the D.Va. He probably should be on flexing on, but then he has to flex the Roadhog and to play D.Va. It's probably just easier for Icefeld to be the one, since a lot of the time the hit scan player is the one to play Roadhog. on the teams anyway. But then it leaves open these types of problems where when hit scan is a single DPS, he can't be utilized as much.
Well, jumping into map here, ladies and gentlemen, and Luminosity elected to attack first here. Now, looking at the defensive lineup here, Train going to continue to troll us with that particular pick. However, some potential interesting picks here. I don't really know if Super's going to run back to spawn. In fact, he probably will now with that Widowmaker, but...
Nah, he's suicide. He's gonna suicide like he did last time.
Yeah.
That cocky SOB. But you know, yeah, I would love to see like a change in their roster. Jake playing Genji is, I think, possible because he whipped it out last second, but it's something that Luminosity would have no chance of seeing because they didn't run this on the Numbani when they just played Spicy Boys.
So why? Why Genji here? Why defensively? And why on this map, Slasher?
I mean, Genji's always been good on Numbani. I'm still not sure they're going to do it, but Genji's always been a good pick, offense and on defense here in Numbani. So it's not totally out of the question. It would be to put pressure on Hidan, if anything, especially if they're going to be running quad tank. Genji not having a great time in this quad tank lineup, but with Super playing defensive Winston, at least they can jump together and put problems on Hidan, try to take him out early, leave no healing for quad tank.
Right, that's the plan. Get rid of Hidan there as well and force Mineral to do all the heavy lifting himself. Gonna be Luminosity working in from the low ground here on the left side from the attacker's spawn. And you can see Jake already airborne, looking for those targets. He's already dashed straight in, and Super shield comes up here. Luminosity are forced and corralled back inside the shop. It's clothes store for those of you keeping track at home. They want to get up on the high ground here, and they're using the internal staircase to do so. And to respond to this, well, we can see that at the moment, Hammers have set up on the opposite side here. So Luminosity still going to have to stand and deliver.
Oh, Train, he can still boop them off, though. This is pretty much just reverse. This is what the attacking D.Va does. Just knock him off the high ground, separate them completely. And he's by himself, so they have to drop to help him out. Well, Reese is taken out.
Super Pluke going to be on the ground. Icefelt there, and Spree and Hidan are going to join them. The Ana just trying to stay behind that Reinhardt shield for life. But Mineral, a little bit slow. Maybe got the memo a little bit too late. He's picked off by Avast here, and already one support down. However, Rob 20 for 4. Avast picks off his opposite number. Boss Hog now on the side of Hammers. And the point being contested, but Avast has just done so much work in this fight. Jake has stayed alive, although not getting any kills, has definitely been a threat in the back line. The issue might be that Hidan is still alive, and he got a nano boost now, and Icefelt's free to roam on towards the point. But even with the damage reduction from the nano boost, he's taken out of his suit. Now Fold can just deal with him as well as Train, and it will be a hold, although a tentative one here for Hammers. Weird setup, Jason.
So somehow Jake survives with like 5 HP. Avast is playing the Roadhog for Jake, who's on the Genji now. And we've seen like a complete swap in some of these individual players' roles, and Rob is still the only one, well, is the only one solo healing like we saw before. So really odd play. Really smart play in general out of Train to kind of force Super Fluke out of position where the rest of the team couldn't defend it, but he doesn't have to give him credit to just stay alive, just to constantly be healing up. But now they're just running straight through with all this high ground around them. They're going to take extra damage from this, and I don't think any other ultimates besides the Graviton to fight.
Now, but they will. They're going to use their whole hog there, and Avast purely puts Uber up on the wall. There a little bit of artwork to adorn the streets of Numbani for now, and that's going to be enough to force Luminosity back. 3 ultimates for Luminosity, 3 ultimates for Hammers here. Reinhardt's, well, we do have an Earth Shatter here for Super Pluke. Bear in mind, there is no Reinhardt on the side intentionally of Hammers. Instead, they're using that Winston. So that Earth Shatter could be a factor. Also, now Spree has that Graviton, whereas Vol already used his in the previous fight.
Yeah, I like how you pointed out too. The no Reinhardt kind of means they can't fight on equal grounds with the Reinhardt. I mean, even though his ultimate is a little bit wonky, they cannot afford to all get Earth Shattered down. But actually, I'll collapse this with his Fluke up to use it. But he's only going to hit one from this one, and Jake in the meantime pops Drag Blade towards the backside.
Oh, look at that. Perfect stuff. Self-destruct comes in after the Graviton surf. It doesn't actually catch anyone. And nicely done by Train as zoning ultimate up towards the high ground forces Uber, Mineral, and who was that one? Sorry, Hidan to come in a little bit later on in the piece there. Still, they do get there, and there's a numbers advantage for Luminosity here over the point. 2/3 captured. It will be all of it. And some creative play coming out here for Hammers. Not going to be enough to get the job done.
Yeah, I don't know about the Genji there. I mean, he had Dragon Blade. Obviously, you're fighting in tight quarters, so it can technically be a little bit dangerous for you, but at the same time, you're also more deadly in tight quarters. But he just got eliminated. He didn't really have the opportunity to pick up a single kill there, and Rob just eventually got overwhelmed. So they're switching things up. The Bass is back on Lucio. Jake is back on Roadhog. And it looks like the side of Luminosity is sticking to what they've been running for the majority of this time. But again, aggression. Look at Hammer. They're trying to contest the payload immediately as soon as they possibly can with only 3 minutes on the board here. And Fluke gets a little bit aggressive with that charge and gets caught out by the bio grenade again.
As soon as the shield drops on Fluke there as well, he gets naded. Good timing from Rob420 there to make him very, very vulnerable, despite having a large health pool on that Reinhardt. Ube, though, cheeky flanking from the backside, a large investment of time just to get rid of Rob420. He gets the kill, but it's not enough to give the advantage in the fight. The damage was already done before the Ana had been removed from the map. And Hammers now, look at them backing away here, waiting for the rest of their team. No concern about high ground for them right now. They're just backing around the corner. They know they can't really continue holding so close.
Yeah, especially when they lost Rob in that fight as well. So they had to definitely retreat, group up yet again. You see Jake off to the side again, looking for that sneaky Roadhog play, looking for some sort of hook, which has been looking to respawn with here. But Jake's looking directly for Hedon, and he gets the hook on, so gets the kill. And you're down your Ana, you're down your biggest healer. What are you gonna do in this fight?
And most of Uber's whole hog got cancelled out there by Train. He used the defensive matrix to cover over most of it here, and now it's going to be Uber getting hooked in. He's shielded but lacking teammates. A minute 49 is ticking down, and so far Hammers have been good at repelling Luminosity as they try and push around the corner, reminiscent actually of their previous game against Spicy Boys.
Just you can't let Jake get this much freedom. He's constantly doing this. Look where he is now. He's flanked around the entire map onto the high ground, so when they push out, he's gonna get an easy hook on the hit on the yet again. Okay, well, maybe not as easy this time, but he does catch a visual, and that's down yet again. Going from the backside, like, this man has so much freedom.
I don't know if it's going to be enough. It may be there as Train does at least secure one kill with the self-destruct, but Jake finds himself now deep in enemy territory, didn't quite connect the hook, and that's a good late graviton for Vol. Should secure the fight, but he catches a fire strike there from Super Fluke now when he realizes Super can come forward with the rest of his team. Mineral right behind him, and Spree is there. Luminosity with the numbers on the payload, and Rob goes for the very cheeky sleep dart, tries a heroic attempt to throw down that biotic field grenade, should I say, and get the rest of the kill, but it's not going to be enough, and it will be now. Hammers backing up again towards that high ground. Luminosity should make this checkpoint, and Hammers realise that they might go for one last fight from the high ground, but they have to do it quickly, and they do just get it in time. Now the fight goes on. Train into the backside. Icebolt with the Bunny Blaster gets a nano boost. That can't be right. Super Bunny on the attack here. So far, Icebolt does at least get back into his super, not before the nano boost expires. Now Super has one of his own. Graviton, though, coming out from Luminosity, carrying them all together here, but not really much damage going in. A little bit of a late self-destruct that's going to be mostly avoided as all of Hammers get on the other side of the payload. They break line of sight. They stay alive. A lot of ultimates thrown in there, and Luminosity are cut down just before that second checkpoint with 12 seconds on the clock. And they've got so far to walk back, Jason. They can't get here in time.
It's Uba. He's got to be the one to do it, and he just respawned back in. I don't think they have even close to the time to get here. Mineral coming in last second like a superhero fight. He gets the contest, yes, but do they have the men? Do they have the damage to need? With that Earthshatter coming down, there's just no way Uba's going to be the last man to fall. And that will be Amber's Esports putting them on to the second corner.
It's pretty nice stuff there. I gotta say, I like it from Mineral, jumping on towards the payload at the last moment. He did what he had to do. He triggered that overtime, but Luminosity walked headlong into an Earthshatter. And that's not something you're going to pick yourself up from there as well. Hammers again, strong defense here, but we saw this on Dorado. We saw both teams hold each other during the Streets phase. The problem is when it came time for Hammers to attack, they fell even shorter of what Luminosity had achieved prior.
And looking on to how they're going to attack this point as well, they don't have the opportunity to go for any sort of God comp here, Slashers. So, like, what kind of route do you expect them to go? Are they trying to get high ground control? Are they trying to fight on point? Like, it's going to be tough.
I mean, Luminosity likes to do different things on their offense and defense, especially considering they run Anazen on offense. Now, will Mineral be going Torb? I mean, that's actually a possibility. I mean, we keep seeing this single support. I'm not a huge fan of what Hammers just did. I don't think single support Genji as the one lone DPS with Ana alone is going to work. But Torb's a little bit easier for Ana if you're not going to have Symmetra. I don't think they're going to do anything different. Honestly, has Hammers run anything else really besides that alternate variation than 4-tank? And especially on offense, they're going to do offense. They're going to go either main or high ground. They're going to have to play around the turret because they don't have long-range hit scan to kill it, besides Ana.
We've got the Soldier 76 here coming out for Icefeld, guys. Now, interesting turn of events. We kind of were waiting to see it and hoping that we would. Why now?
I mean, this is the map to do it. Soldier is so good here, and now Spree is going to have to play that diva. Maybe that's why Super Fluke is on Winston instead of the Reinhardt. They feel like, well, they're not going to win the Shield War anyway. Let's not even deal with it.
Triple tank, single support, Torbjorn and Soldier 76 into the mix. So now, something a little bit different here from Luminosity, and we'll have to see how Hammers respond to this one coming through, Jason.
It helps a lot as well. I was trying to point out Price felt that if you stay grouped up, your bout field just becomes that much more strong, like that much more effective when you can heal up the majority of your team, which they're still sticking on the high ground. You can heal up multiple people, keep healing on lag, get 1% build up a little bit quicker, and they don't really have much to deal with them in straight unless they can somehow hit a hook or somehow get Train in his face. But Train has really people to fight with, to contend with, to get that high ground back for himself.
Oh, strong defense there as well. You could see Train was hoping to go up to start with and deal with the Torbjorn turret, but the entirety of Luminosity were there waiting for him. And they set up to receive that push. Very comfortable hold here for Luminosity. And ult's half built for Spree, Icefelt, Mineral, Uber, and Super Pluke. Tidan already has his Nano Boost ready for the next fight, so this is big. Essentially, if you win this fight as Luminosity, you're probably going to win the next 2 subsequent ones, or at least the next one at least. Now, Hook comes in from Jake. He doesn't find Mineral though. Torbjorn's still at large up on the high ground here, and Uber now off towards the side. It's a complete envelop here for Luminosity, but Uber gets pulled in. Super Pluke though does have a Nano Boost on that Tesla cannon. Winston trying to come forward and do some extra damage. Train falls to Mineral over the backside here, but Icefelt still has the high ground, still doing so much damage here, and despite Fall getting Spree, it seems like a matter of time before Hammers get crushed in this fight. Now, Primal Rage coming out from Super Fluke. Rob 20. Rob 420, should I say, goes off the edge. He's knocked away by the Primal Rage, and the second fight goes to Luminosity.
There was a lot of split focus in that fight, actually. You had Train focused on Mineral, which left Icefelt to his own to get free damage in. What did even Luminosity commit to that fight in Ultimate-wise? They used just Super Fluke's Primal Rage, and that was it. Maybe he did use Nano Boost in there. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because he can obviously charge it up really quickly, but they're constantly just battering their heads against this wall and not changing things up. I don't know if Hammer Esports is ever going to take this point if they keep going this route.
They're on the point. They've got themselves a bit of a sound barrier here. Oh, Graviton only catches Uber there. It's a little bit late as well. And now the self-destruct comes in. That prevents any attempt from Hammers to actually get damage done. They set up with the Graviton. It catches one player and they can't even kill that one. A lot of the ultimates were drawn now out of Luminosity. That is fair to say. But even with that ultimates, Luminosity have been comfortably holding here. Hammers are pushing into the low ground and then trying to jump up on high. They're taking too much damage, Jason.
The thing is, only one of you can jump up on high, so like, what's the point of trying to get there? If anything, I'd say go low ground, push into their high ground to dislodge this turret. You have to go obviously very fast in this situation. Once this turret's been dislodged, because he's going to have to rebuild it somewhere else, that's your opportunity, because you have Icefelt out of position, you have Mineral out of position, and that's your chance you can finally attack. I don't see them being able to recycle on the high ground, or the opposing high ground in time.
Well, self-destruct in for Train, gets to them up at the start of the fight he's looking for. Actually, he's got one and Mineral's turret. Still value for money as he lets that one go. Uber on towards a Vast here, and he gets all the way up towards the side. Primal Rangers could be nasty. Rob again goes for a long walk off a very short ledge. Luminosity can hold once more. No way to losing this fight. Brilliant stuff there from Luminosity. Very confident defending on Numbani here, and Hammers do not have the answer. That's the closest I think they're going to get, Jason.
Well, the thing is, this is their last chance, right? If they lose and cannot capture this point, they've lost the winner bracket final. They're going to go down to the lower bracket to have a second chance to make their way back to the grand final. So they already said, see you spicy, see you there in a few games time. They have to make something happen, and with them not changing anything, will there even be a change in result? And I would say no.
Jason says no. Let's see, though, if Hammers have something else in plan. They actually have dealt with Uber fairly early on. Still need to respect the Torbjorn turret over across the other side of the map here. And Mineral just got his long core available. He's going to let it go straight away. This is scary stuff here. On the low ground, and Train being put to sleep as well. Forced to take damage. Super can't even shield him out. He's being attacked by 2 tanks on either side here. Rob 420 again taken down. The Anna now getting those space. Now, Tidan is able to laugh in the back line and know his opponent knows going through. Still, there will be Hammers to push on towards this. They're going to finally take the break. Only just in the last 2 seconds. But a minute 27 now, keep themselves in the series.
So with Upa getting caught out a little bit because he was so far pushed up, looking for Hook, trying to actually spot out the direction Hammer is going for the attack. They lose him right away. They lose one of their crucial few ultimates they had available at the time. And I'm actually disappointed. So finally, Hammers have been able to, I guess, take that point off a mistake out of Luminosity. But now this is where we saw Hammers build up a lot of steam. Like, they took the second point earlier on up against Spicy Boys relatively quickly. It's the third point where they got stalled on. The problem is for them, or the problem is for Luminosity, I should say, that they only have to capture the second point to get themselves into that 5th and final map.
I feel good about them getting this one, to be honest. I feel good about them taking the fight now. Can push through, but self-destruct in the back. Super. Quick shield around to defend. So no, nothing coming there from Freeze ultimate. Huge, brilliant Earth Shatter coming in though from Super. That's lovely. Gets himself 3. Enough for Hammers now to be able to take this fight. Down comfortably here in the defense for Luminosity is something, and that's bad news indeed. They need to get towards this point. It's just around the corner. Luminosity now have to sprint back, and I don't think they're going to have any time at all, Jason.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think Uba might be able to contest for a split second here as he's trying to go towards the higher ground. Some payload just rounding the corner. Jake's about to have Whole Hog available. Even Sufu trying to come in. They'll get the kid test, but I don't think they'll get the fight. Or even a chance for a fight because they fell off the point.
Luminosity held so well on first. They looked completely indomitable, but then one small slip, one error causes them to lose control of the entire map. Well, gentlemen, series on our hands here. Hammers not being put down here, giving us a full vest of fire between these two teams. Wouldn't have it any other way, especially from Hammers, who we haven't seen much of, and I guarantee you, plenty of people out there are glad we're going to get to see more.
Yeah,
If you're
definitely.
Luminosity, you got to be frustrated right now. I mean, you have the series in the bag. You have Mineral with Torvald ready to go. You have the ult advantage. You have height advantage. You have one of the hardest maps to take at the very end of the map, how far the spawn is for offense to reinforce. And Ube gets caught off guard. Mineral doesn't kill Roadhog Jake inside of lower, and Jake has like 50 health and is anti-ed. He doesn't get it done, and then they end up taking the point, use Luciol, and win the map. And now they put themselves in position. We're going to 5th game.
Yep, first best of 5 of the night, going all the way. Route 66, the next map, though, guys. Any initial thoughts about this? I know we touched briefly on it in the draft, but who do you have picked here as a outsider or a favorite to take this one?
Luminosity. Like, you cannot play Route 66 and not have a long-range DPS hit scan player on your team, or playing that actual hero. You might have a player, but allow him to play that hero. Like, second phase, even technically first a little bit, unless you want to be cheeky with the Roadhog plays. I don't know if I see Hammer making their way through second.
Now, I would say the same thing, except that's almost exactly like Numbani, and Luminosity was able to let the game slip away, and Hammers just kind of roll through second point. So, yeah, they should be able to now on Route 66 use the advantage of especially first point and throughout second point of long-range hit scan to make life very difficult for Hammers. But if Hammers is able to sit on the cart and win that first team fight around the corner of Earls, things could get pretty rough for Luminosity. Especially if they get through the third point, because then Quad Tank is at its best.
Just saying Hammer can win if Luminosity mess up.
I mean, Luminosity had their defense to put them in position to win that. It was just a letdown of ults and communication afterwards. It seemed like they fell apart. Really, I would give the momentum advantage to Hammers right now.
Look, and it's worth saying as well, that point on Numbani, the first point, was taken by Hammers whilst 3 players were still alive for Luminosity. So those players died far longer after that point being taken than they would have liked. So Luminosity, even when they tried to go for the refight to defend against the second point, weren't all together really in their entirety, and they weren't able to get a foothold at all. So timing didn't work well. If you're going to lose the point, you want to be dead before it's taken, not 5 to 10 seconds afterward, because it completely throws your team's, sense of sync out the window.
I mean, I'm most interested in to see what Hammers runs to start off the map on defense. They've favored May on a few maps where, I mean, she is much better on Dorado and maybe even Numbani than on Route, but she could be okay on first point. And I do not think they should be running any of that Genji stuff. Do not think they should be trying any of that single support stuff, especially on Route. But I want to know if they're going to go standard, quad tank it, or maybe try to do something a little different. I think maybe an okay choice, honestly.
We've seen a lot of teams really prioritize jumping on enemy Annas, and I think it's pretty clear why she's so strong right now. And we saw that Rob 420 was pressured very heavily by Luminosity when they were on the attacking side there. But let's talk about the methods that teams are using to actually jump on these Annas. We're seeing a lot of divas going towards them. I guess we can conject or guess that Jake switched towards that defensive Genji to try and put more pressure on Anna. What is, in your opinion, guys, the most effective way to try and dive on that Anna as a defending team, trying to take any healing away from the attackers?
I don't think you really have an opportunity to necessarily dive on that Ana if you're gonna put like super standard. I feel like
right
all
now.
you really do is just have a diva and just hold defense matrix while you're trying to kill something and just block the healing that could potentially come in.
I mean, let's be real. Currently, and for another 2 days until the patch hits on Tuesday, she could win almost a one-on-one against almost every single hero in the game, including the tanks and like half the DPS heroes, because of how much she can stay alive because of the nade throwing at her feet and, you know, sleep dart and being able to do everything that she can. She'll be easier kill. She won't be able to stay alive like this once the patch hits, and that's a lot because of the grenade being less health. When she throws it at her feet now, she's not going to stay alive for another 2 or 3 seconds or forever until respawn comes in. She will die more often now.
I can't help but detect a sense of satisfaction in your tone there.
I'm an Ana main, so like I have abused this since she first came out when Discord was still 50% and everyone was upset about Zen. I was still playing Ana, and now we've gotten to see the full power of Beyblade and triple quad tank now for 3 to 4 months. It is necessary that she gets some deductions to, you know, bring back DPS, make things a little bit better.
I feel like if we had a word cloud of slashers talking about Ana just now, the biggest word on that would be die.
Okay, so, I mean, and you guys, as we jump into this one as well, we can revisit the conversation about Ana as well. It's something that everyone's kind of having a bit of a talk about here. Jake doing his thing again, not even going to look at him here. He does it just to troll casters, so I'm just going to completely ignore some of these picks on the side of Hammers to start things off with. Yes, Jake, you're going to throw yourself off the edge. Did you know, funny story, Spo's old team, right? Well, Spo's current team, actually, they used to be called Sombreros, right? Sombreros, and they changed their name. But they named themselves that literally just to troll casters. And they were shocked when casters asked them to change their name because it was so hard to pronounce. So fun fact here there, a lot of these teams do like to give us a hard time, but it's fine. We'll give it back to them just as much. Now we have a lineup locked in, and I'm glad you guys waited for it, because guess what? It's 4 tanks here coming out for Hammers to defend.
But looking on the other side, though, for the attacking side, I wouldn't be surprised to actually see... Okay, thanks, guys.
No,
thanks,
Uber, no. And honestly, he's just going to...
so good.
No, and honestly, I think Uber was just doing it. If he was going to play Hanzo, he'd just Sonic Arrow the cart and make sure no sneak strategy was going to happen. We just don't see people carry the Hanzo any further.
I don't know. I still say Hanzo can be really good. Like, if you pair it with the Zarya. Like, Hanzo Zarya Tracer is, like, insanely good if you know how to play it correctly. Which is a little bit difficult to do at the higher levels. But again, mirror comps from both teams. Just gonna be pushing up against each other, looking for some potential hooks. Look how passive and defensive Rob is playing, though. Because he knows he's gonna be the focus. If they can somehow hit a hook onto this man or sneak up with the right-hand side, he's gonna be in trouble.
Plops a Vita grenade on towards Hidan's head as he tries to take cover inside Big Earls, but now Hammers have decided it is time to fight. Time to come forward. Supercharging forward, they're very low, but actually gets himself mostly out of harm's way until he's chased down there by Mineral. And so far for Luminosity, this is looking to be a very, very good start on the attacking side. A confident finish to the fight with 5 players still standing. They're going to sail on towards his checkpoint here, and it's going to be a mad dash, really. It always is. And this is the funny thing about this map. If you lose the first fight, it can be very, very hard. It's always a desperate attempt just to keep the payload away from the first checkpoint.
It's going to be hard to actually go for the contest here, too, because the position, the angles you have to come from, Blue can just charge super to keep him away. Instead, he hits a fast, gets super on the payload. Guess what? There's the turnaround Earthshatter, the 180, and that will solidify his payload pushing into the next point.
Okay, Luminosity looking a little bit stronger right now. Definitely not taking any prisoners here. Train, again, happy to be kept alive for a little bit longer because he keeps the payload in stasis, but really it's a couple seconds and it's not going to make a huge difference in the grand scheme of things, especially if Luminosity keep pushing forward at this rate. Now, for whatever reason, everyone, you can see everyone from Hammers has actually backed away inside the last stage just to make sure they can't get picked off if they're on their own, because we know Luminosity are playing aggressively. They're looking for people out of position to pick them off with Uber's hook, but now they're going to be up on the high ground here to set up.
It's a slow snowball, though. They have to be very careful for the side of Hammer Esports that they don't get engaged on, because you have somebody else who's coming with Spree, is very close to Scravix on third. With Super going down, they've lost almost an Earthshatter. They lost their frontline defense. And now it's going to be really hard for them to chain these ultimates together to make something work. This is really dangerous. They have to stop this.
This is frankly not good at all. Vol just wanted to die there as he moves on towards the payload here. So losing Super, Hammers acknowledged that they'd lost the fight completely. And what are they doing? Completely backing away.
He was babied, so he had to jump off eventually. But did they just really give up this entire second phase without a single fight? Because now Klug, he's positioned himself in a way that he can contest and at least kind of hold back the rest of the team. They have Graviton Surge to hold him there as well. This is really dangerous.
Graviton on the point, spree caught in this, so a super Klug could bite a grenade used by Hidan to keep them nice and healthy though, and that actually gets them through most of the damage until Train drops down with that self-destruct. Icefelds is not going to be remotely as impressive there as you try and let that one go here. He gets babied now out of the suit, and he will be kept around for a little bit longer. Wants to go over the edge, but Jake will have himself a little bit of...
Just let this man die! This is the second time it's happened to him on Watchpoint Gibraltar. He just wants to leave. But I feel like that self-destruct was sitting on the head, though, of Super Blue. Because there was nothing he could do to defend that with his shield, and Train picked him up with the shield. Like, I don't know if that was just really well timed position, but the placement of that was spot on.
Well, it's important, Jason, because Hammers now actually have a chance to push forward and set up a little bit here. It looked like they'd completely given up second phase, but now they actually seem to be in decent control. High ground given up there by Train. He wants to come and get a boop, and he does knock Icefeld off and put to sleep. Oh, woken up there, Ube. A little bit of a mistake, actually giving Train a bit of a waking blow with that scrap gun to get him back on his feet and give him some time with a nano boost here. And now Hammer's just going to clean up this fight.
Alright, so we're going to have Luminosity come back in with an Earth Shatter, a Sound Barrier, a nano boost. And response, sorry, from out of Hammer Esports is just the Sound Barrier, with Super getting relatively close to his ultimate. I feel like if you're playing as Luminosity here, you don't necessarily need to come in through the front door. You can maybe work around the actual backside of the building, then use that advantage, that positional advantage to your own. But meantime, Jake pushed up aggressively and he got the kill on the mineral somehow.
Yeah, fairly preemptive sound barrier actually being used here by Hammers, but maybe they'll need it as the fight continues here. Ube's caught up inside the saloon, up against the wall. Super deals with him pretty comfortably, and Icefeld very forward position there as well. Gets ejected back in towards the face of the enemy team, and they're not going to baby him, but they are going to be more than happy to leave him without a suit. Now Icefeld needs to do damage with the Bunny Blaster to get back in the suit, buying further time for Hammers. On the precipice of losing 2 checkpoints consecutively, now Hammers are actually looking like they might be able to hold Luminosity here, Jason.
Yeah, with only 40 seconds to go, Icefeld's not switched over to Tracer, though, just pretty much getting off the Diva. He's basically Baby Diva, just a little bit quicker, and maybe a little bit more damage if he can hit his shots. He's gonna have to push him really quickly. Jake again, he looks for the picture from the backside. He doesn't get pulled in, but the Sound Barrier takes life, the Counter Surge hits nothing, and Ube's response.
Icefeld though does get the pick, now switching over towards the Tracer. It was Super to fall down and Train out in the open, gonna try and get a self-destruct, but no, nothing happening from it. Icefeld, the beast has been awoken here, he's gotten 2 kills around the fight, he's only Jake away from the payload here, and Luminosity actually shoving back now, finally. They've only got 7 seconds, so it's gonna be an overtime run towards the end of the map, but huge stuff from Icefeld in that fight. Massive impact, big contribution from him after switching from that Baby Diva. Maybe they should have let him get his suit back after all.
This is why you give this man Tracer. This is what we've been wanting out of this entire last 2 days. Let him play Tracer. Screw his Diva. Ube switch over to Fair the last second to try to hammer away at this choke point. But it comes down to who's going to hit the Earth Shatter, and if they group up, because Ice will have the group up ready to go.
Uber picks up Rob 420 there, and getting a little bit too close to the enemy flames. And the Graviton coming out here as well. Icefeld, what can he do with his Pulse Bomb? He does get one. Super goes down, eventually hooking towards Drake there, but still gets 1 kill for his troubles. However, Hammer's pushing them off. He was still in overtime, and it's going to tick down. Luminosity don't even get to the last stage of the map there after looking so good. But Hammers finally put their foot on the gas and get the job done. I love the idea, by the way, of, leaving a D-suited Diva out of the suit, knowing there's only, 20 seconds left in the game, forcing a switch towards the Tracer. Now, it didn't work out because Icefeld was so good, but Hammers are so weird. 1 second they seem to be losing the game, and all of a sudden they've got it in control, and they're looking like they never were behind.
Luminosity could have had that. Did you see? I wonder if you guys caught that. Icefeld got Earth Shattered as he was blinking past the Earth Shatter. Like, as before it came down, got caught up, and he was on the ground so he couldn't pulse bomb to pick up those 2 kills quickly and turn it around. That is really painful.
I mean, it's a very odd last fight. You had Vol gravitoning into nothing, and then Train ulting into nothing, and then somehow Superpoke and Icefeld win the point and push it all the way, and then Luminosity should probably get the second checkpoint, and then they throw it back to Hammers to close out the map. And especially considering how well the offense went to start the map for Luminosity, you've got to be disappointed a little bit going into the defense here.
And the last map, too. the last half of the last map of the series. Like, you want to go into that final match with a couple of games off with a little bit of break, right? And to go back to what you were asking earlier, Mitch, like that self-destruct out of train landing directly on top of Super Fluke's head, picking up 2 kills, I think for me was a very big turning point. It allowed them to finally stabilize and build up some ult percent and build up some ults in general that they needed to finally, you know, create some longevity in that second phase.
And credit as well, by the way, to Hammers. They gave up so much of that second phase to ensure that they had 6 men ready to go. They were willing actually to allow Luminosity to get far closer than maybe some teams would have let them, just to make sure that they could win a solid fight there. So you got to respect that investment that they made, and it definitely paid off. Now, very wayward fighter grenade thrown over the top by Hidan. If you can catch anyone, it's a huge bonus for you. But no, it will be an unscathed side of Hammers moving through. Around the corner. Notice Ube's positioning, by the way. He's up above, looking to get a big ice wall here to start the fight off for Luminosity. Give them that local man advantage by splitting up Hammers.
And more importantly, Luminosity didn't give Jake an opportunity to hit a hook. And just as I say it, he hooks Free in, but that's way better than Mineral being the one going down.
Yeah, Icefeld's very low, so is Free. Super Fluke. Everyone in Luminosity's super low, and eventually they're just going to fall down. They took so much damage early on in the fight here. Ube tried to set it up with May, tried to put a wall down, but he didn't split anyone off. In fact, he just protected Hammers from oncoming damage. And now they're going to shrug it all off and just continue straight on down the road. And from here, again, like we've said, very staggered spawns for Luminosity. They died maybe at most like 15 seconds apart. So Super Fluke's going to be out there first, but he's going to be lacking any sort of backup because Mineral and Ube are just spawning in now.
Yeah, they have to be careful here because they're not going to be having equal footing coming into this fight. If they lose this fight really quickly and lose quite a few different people, then you're looking at even a worse spawn coming into the second point, and that's going to be Keaton going down to Jake and Haley here.
That's massive. Jake was on the high ground. He knew he had to look for the animal in this fight, and that just gave Luminosity no chance of winning whatsoever. So Hammers are going to be spitting into the wind, defying Luminosity for setting up what was a reasonable attack, and now following up. We talked about earlier on the series is that Hammers was kind of good defense.
No.
Oh, no.
He did.
Oh, no.
Oh, look how far back he was, though. That just shows how aggressive Hammer was being, looking for that pick. With him now down, he has to respawn only towards the end, basically. And this gives a lot of freedom, a lot of extra control and payload coverage in the second. That's
like, to be fair, it's common to go around towards that spawn because Hedron obviously spawned for first and not the second, which is where the payload is now, just before the checkpoint was taken. So he was kind of screwed anyway. You can't jump off a cliff from that point. It's not like Gibraltar, right? So that's pretty nasty. He's back though now with the rest of his team. The fight's going to be beginning here. It'll be Ube up on the high ground, gets a nice little blizzard down on, and fast able to get out of it though. There is someone frozen. It's Rob 420, but no one's looking at him right now. The Anna's staying alive in the fight, but he's running out of teammates to heal here. It's going to be Train going over the edge of Vast Fall, and that will be a lost fight here for Hammers. But good progress. It's the first time they've lost a fight in this map. They've got 3 minutes to get around that S-bend to finish off and win the series. And
they didn't really commit any ultimates into that fight too. I mean, they used the whole hog out of Jake. I think that was just about it. Vol has his Graviton ready to go. Self-destruct is just about there. At least force the blizzard out of Uva, which means you can afford to stay clumped up and push the payload together, because Spree doesn't really have much to combo with at the moment. He has to hope for self-destruct to land like in a prime position again.
Graviton Surge coming in here, but a lot of damage coming from the way of Hammers. Actually makes it a 1-for-1 so far in the fight. But Icefeld doubles down, gets his second. They're both surrounded by 3. Everyone from Hammers was split. They all went in different directions after the Graviton dissipated, and Jake's been left alive a lot longer than he otherwise would have liked, over the edge, hoping for a Pyrrhic victory, a hook, as he fell down, but he's not going to have it. Now, time is ticking. 2 minutes and 16 seconds remain. A lot of ultimates though on Hammers, a lot of key ultimates at that.
Mineral got his revenge, actually. Oh, Supernova, he's getting caught up by the wall here, and I just charge straight in, but this might be a little bit too aggressive, because then he picks up a kill, and now they're extended.
They walked into the Graviton Surge now, and both those big tanks are going to succumb. It's going to be Super Fluke now. Icefeld desuited and attempted a blizzard coming out here from Ube, but no one's there to see it. It was just Jake caught in it, but a great shield coming from Vol. Jake was caught in that blizzard, but shrugs it off now. A bit of cold protection coming from Zarya. She knows all about that. And the payload keeps moving forward. Now, very split, very scattered, very staggered side. Luminosity have to try and mount a defense, but Hidan, the last man, he's the only man at the point right now. He's trying to do something, but again, charge in from Super Fluke, drops to the point. Good little self-destruct there as well. That keeps Hidan out of the fight for the next couple of seconds. Train trying to reshoot up on the high ground here, and Super Fluke does fall again to Jake. He can't afford to let that happen. Now the whole hog comes through from Jake, but he's bursted down quickly.
Ube's trying to stall on the point, actually be able to go into his ice block, but the problem is, it doesn't really have the mentor to support this anymore. Mineral is one of the last few remaining people on the point. I think Hammer Esports have done it.
That's it. Series going to go towards Hammer Esports. They get across the line. Much harder for them to topple Luminosity this time. Yesterday, it was a much less close affair, but they get it done. And, of course, their comment of seeing Spicy Boys in the finals might still hold true here. The best of 5 does go in favor of the young upstarts, and Hammers are looking like they're living up to the hype, Slasher.
Yeah, I mean, Jake going off in this series. A lot of credit has to go to him. I mean, not just Super, but he's getting a lot of picks on Roadhog, a lot of kills, a lot of consecutive kills, abusing 1.0 to its maximum right now, and they just play quad pick really well.
And that is going to be it there. A couple shout-outs as well coming from these guys as well. You can see them yourselves. But Luminosity, got to be frustrated. These are one of the finalists in the Winter Premier Tournament in NGE, one of the top 4 teams. And they've been toppled now by a team coming out of left field. And Hammers have definitely taken them to task here, bringing it down. And we're going to be very interested to see what more will be coming from them now later on as well. We're going to be heading over towards our lower bracket round number 3, actually, following this one as well. So we still got a few more games that we need to still see. And again, we're going to get to, again, see what Luminosity could do to keep themselves in this one later on. But it's going to be Spicy Boys going up against Rise Nation in a best of 3. If I'm not mistaken, this phase fell out to Spicy Boys already. So we'll see you after the break, ladies and gentlemen. For the Alienware Monthly Melee, the fun continues right here. Don't go too far.